Recording's in progress. Hi, folks. Joseph Carrabba's here. If this is your first time watching an experiment in writing, welcome. If this is not your first time, you know all this stuff already. Today, I want to talk about technique versus craft, because to me, it's an extremely important thing. I've been talking about it without mentioning it, I think, for quite a few experiments. So let me, at this point in time, give you, very specific. Technique versus craft. Craft is your unique authorial voice and style. Technique is how you demonstrate your craft. Sometimes your authorial voice and style is weak because your craft sucks. That's when you have to develop your technique so your craft can shine through. If you've been following these things, these experiments, you're probably aware that I'm really kind of a craft nut, self-defined. I'm a craft nut. I love to explore craft. I love to develop my own craft. I study and research to do that. And the foundation of craft, to me, is good technique. It's one of those things that you can't break the rules until you know the rules. That's something I've heard so many times, and I never really liked it, but I do recognize the validity of it. Technique is how you put words down. Do you know how to create a sentence? Do you know how to structure a paragraph? Do you know beginning, middle, and end? Do you know plot? Characterization. Do you know how to do these things? Do you know how to construct dialogue? Dialogue is extremely important because I do an awful lot of exposition through dialogue. Characters talking to each other. Really what they're doing is explaining to the reader something that's happening in the story. Once you've got technique down really well, once you're competent and confident, you know how to put characters on a page so that they are adversarial to each other. But now comes the craft part. The craft part is, how do you demonstrate they are being adversarial? One of the first writing exercises I was ever given, long ago, 1987, involved just that. Through only dialogue could I demonstrate two people did not like each other, were actually adversarial. Give me a second, I'll see if I can actually still find that. Wouldn't that be exciting? He wonders where he put it. Bear with me. I'll trim this out if you'd like. Well, no, I can't find it that easily. Definitely have to trim this part out. That being the case, dang, I wish I could find that. I'm going to trim a lot of this one out. How do you show that two people, excuse me, only through dialogue, are antagonistic, adversarial? Choice of words, length of sentences. These are craft issues. How do they speak to each other? Do they say comments to each other, make statements to each other which are contradictory to what the previous person has said? Likewise, another craft technique is to show two people engaged, having fun, perhaps even being romantic with each other, is, again, you could do that through dialogue, through craft, by having them make witty comments about what each other has said. or offering to help, offering to aid, recognizing, geez, you look sad. That doesn't sound like you. Is everything okay? That's an indication that these two people have some kind of relationship which is amicable, if not loving, caring. The other thing you can do is that a person says, boy, you look like shit. Too fucking bad, huh? Now, these two people are antagonistic, okay? So, again, that's just purely through language, through dialogue. You can do a lot of exposition. Craft issues, to me, are the way you use your technique to bring a story to fruition. Technique is an indication. Technique is if somebody gets shot on page 5, you need to see a gun. The reader needs to see a gun on page 2. Okay. Craft is how you reveal the gun. One of the things that I've been accused of multiple times in my writing is dropping stuff in so subtly that the reader doesn't really recognize that I just did some foreshadowing. I just revealed the gun because I will not hide it. I'm not misdirected. But what I do is I place the gun in the scene in such a way that it's an afterthought to the characters. It's not an important thing to them. It's simply there. And then, by the way, did I say we're listening to Traffic? Great. This is the John Barleycorn CD. Oh my God. Powerful stuff. Powerful stuff. John Winwood's group. John Winwood, as some of you know, went on to do he did amazing things with Traffic, did more amazing things after the fact. Be that as it may, the way you demonstrate where the gun is, the way you reveal the gun so that it's in the reader's consciousness, but not in their fore consciousness, if you will. It's not up front in their mind. They're not looking for, oh my God, when he's going to use the gun. Here's the amusing thing to me. A lot of my readers, my regular readers, they are so cued to the way I put stuff in that if they see a gun subtly mentioned as an aside on page 2, they're looking for it. They're waiting for that thing to be shot. They want to see who's going to get it. And again, that's the difference between technique and craft. Technique is knowing you need the gun. Craft is how you reveal it. And craft is one of the things that occurs when you're developing the through line of a story. Plot line and timeline, those are technique. When you work with those together to create the through line, that's craft. I've talked about through line previously. Through line is what keeps on coming up in the story so that the reader continually, if you will, gets grounded in some element. It's something that is a repeated element, place, person, phrase, whatever, that's in the story that keeps the story moving forward, if you will, keeps the reader going forward towards the climax of the novel or story. And helps them, okay, this is what I'm doing, this is what I'm reading, okay, this is what I'm reading. For example, in my current work in progress, Fane's Eye, when it comes out, I want you all to get copies and leave great reviews. There's an element in the through line, which is someone saying, or the phrase I should say, time for this one to come home. And it's stated a few different ways, depending on which character is stating it. Characters don't realize they're stating it. It's kind of a joke to some. To some, it's, a thing. Oh my God, I'm going to go home. Be that as it may, when the reader sees that come up again, up again, up again, it brings them back into the grounding of the story, if you will. So they are reminded of where the story is going, where it's come from, and where they are now in the story. Technique versus craft. I really encourage you to develop your craft, to practice your craft. And the way to do that, as I say, is develop and practice your technique. Allow yourself, as I've said in many previous experiments, give yourself a chance to screw up, make mistakes. That's how you learn. I can't tell you how often I've screwed up. And I believe I did, the last experiment was an example of, I just put something down on the page because I knew I had to. It sucked. I went back and I fixed it. That right there was the difference between technique. I know how to put stuff down. I know how to put it down. I know the way it needs to go. I know where the plot's happening. I know the elements that need to be there. Craft is when I went back and made it work. I hope this is helpful. If not, reach out to me. I'm here. I'm reachable. Time to get back to the Zoom window. Time to say bye. Bye-bye.